Hey you guys, with patch 3.1 we got class advancement, which includes advanced skills. So it's an extra set um, of 6 skills for each class, and so I thought I would do a little review of the mage ones. Um, I spoke with Cosmos, and he's going to do one on the knight skills, and then I think between the two of us we'll figure out something for archers. I do have an archer alt, but I'm not sure if he's spiffy enough these days to be able to do a video of. Um, so yeah, so I think I'm just going to do a little bit of an overview of what I thought of the skills and some descriptions on each of them and probably where I would most likely allocate them or where I have put them as far as where I've put the points so far. And then we can do a few tests of the new skills, um, both the damage ones and the healing ones. So yeah, so here we up until this point we have all of the class-based skills, the uh, the basic class skills, which I'm quite fond of as far as mages go. If you want my general opinion of how mages are, I think mages are a great class, really, really powerful, especially in PvP situations. I think the weakest part of a mage's set of skills is that we really do not have very good passives. If you want like really really nice passives, you're talking about knights and archers have very nice ones, particularly for their crit. Mages, what do we get? We get a healing boost. Okay, decent. Um, magic defense boost. Totally pointless. We have high magic defense already, and we get a rage reduction passive. So great. Also sort of pointless. So so yeah. So a lot of the mage stuff tends to be um involve rage reduction because heals cost a lot of rage and without really any way to get it back. So we get if you have PvE gear, you'll get 10 rage back with each action, but unlike knights who get the extra rage per action, or archers which who don't have any heals, but every time they crit they get more rage. Mages don't have that when they heal. They only get a little bit of extra rage each time they attack. Um, so yeah. So the advanced skills are split into 2 sections, but really the passives are just pick and choose. This HP passive, sturdy, I don't know if it's called that for the other classes, but it's basically the same thing for everybody. Um, it's at full HP, so each level is 2% HP increased, which is very very nice. I would say the first thing you do with your points is you max this out. Um, and there's no requirement here. You can, as long as you're class advanced and you have points, you can put it into this passive. You don't need to get other things around here in order to be able to fill that up. Um, and then also on the damage branch, so this top set of skills are your what I would call DPS skills. So it's all the big damage, and then the bottom 2 rows are heal based. Meteor is not exactly a heal, but it's down there. So maybe I should go into my other skill set because I have points put into them for the DPS skills. Um, so basically, mages have crap for Delphics. In the basic skills, Delphic Thunder Frenzy, totally not worth it. Um, Delphic Hell Thunder, even less so worth it. Well, I don't know. Between the two of them, they're in competition for being really terrible Delphics, and basically the mage equivalent of a Delphic is Thunder, which is a great skill, very powerful, 50 rage, also very very fast cooldown. So that's a fantastic skill, and that's a mage's main single target DPS. And then Once we get the advanced skills, we have Ice Bolt, which I think is actually not bad. If we're going, we're starting out pretty on the good end of the mage skills. I overall am kind of underwhelmed, but the HP passive is great, but everybody gets it, and I think Ice Bolt is decent. It's not something necessarily I would use in a PvP situation, so I'm not going to bring this to class wars. I don't think it's really worth it. I don't think it's special enough. But it's actually pretty nice for things like World Boss, where the rage consumption is a little bit lower, so you can sneak it in, and it's also very, very fast. It is on the order of being as fast as like an archer's armor pierce. You can double hit it with thunder or with just a basic bolt, or really any of the reasonably fast skills like Rain of Fire. Those will all work with double hits, even though it has a QTE on it. And usually QTE will slow things down a little bit. No, Ice Ball, super, super fast, decent damage, 180%. And so, yeah, that kind of gets my seal of okay, PvE approval. Sometimes I'll bring it into Necropolis instead of Rain of Fire. I just use Rain of Fire often. You'll just see me do that for like Necropolis or Skytrail, mostly out of habit because I haven't trained my brain to think, oh, I should bring Ice Bolt yet. Um, so they're pretty good. This Delphic, when I first saw some previews of the skills, I was super excited because I thought, oh yay, mages are finally gonna have a Delphic that is interesting and useful, and that we might actually do. Not so much the case. It's I thought it was going to be 400% magic damage to all enemies and cost 100%. I mean 100 rage. Definitely not the case. This damage is actually shared by the entire opposing team. So if your target is only one target, then it will do 400% plus 2050 or whatever it is to that one target. And as you have more opponents, so say you have two, it'll be 200% and whatever split between those two. So once you get up to, like four opponents, like you would in a group arena situation where, AoEs are very, very useful, you're talking about 100% damage to each one, whereas Delphic Hellthunder, which I still think is already a pretty terrible skill, will do 270% to each one of them and have a chance to bind and have a damage boost of 25%. And so yeah, so I'm failing to see what the point of this thing is. It doesn't debuff them in any way. The QT does less of a damage boost. So yeah, pretty underwhelming. The only thing I can see here is literally the only context where I've used this skill, and it's been mostly just to mess around, is I'll go into the wilds and I'll bring a rage rune and I'll just rage rune and maybe like bolt, because I don't think I can get to 100 rage with just my rage rune, and I'll use this and you know bomb elites, and it'll go pretty quickly. But again, that's a single target, and other classes get much, much bigger single target Delphics. Um, so if you're using this in a single target situation, yeah, it's the best thing that a mage can do. Um, but one, it costs 100 rage, and so I would probably rather just deal with it and do two thunders for close to 600%. And yeah, so not too excited there. Um, yeah. So, and these are all at max. I have full points on them. So you're seeing the extent of how much these skills can do. All right. So as far as the heal side thing goes, um, here we have Mana Shield goes up to level 4. And at level 4, it generates a shield that decreases damage by 16%, lasting 2 turns, and the QTE adds 1 turn. So really, it's a 3-turn shield for 16%. I wouldn't bother with it if it's not going to be a full level. It's already a pretty weak shield if you think about things like Apollo shields, which I think costs a similar amount of rage, probably like 45 or something like that. It's kind of skipping me, even though I use knights all the time. Um, but that reduces by 30%. So this is probably the weakest reduction that amongst the class-based skills. Archers have incendiary shot, which also reduces by 30%. So this is weak sauce. Last 3 turns, it's definitely only a single PvP situation type of deal. I don't know why you would even. Well, actually, no, I might be lying there. It doesn't even matter. Single PvP or group PvP, this thing's not doing much. I really wanted to conceptually give it a chance last Class Wars. So I did bring it through all of finals, and I think it was pretty underwhelming. I don't think it hurt me that badly, but I don't think it was doing me any services either. I think um you know, the fact that you already get a damage reduction for 2 turns of 15% from the uh, the the QT skill on restoration. I mean, it's barely more than that. So you would think that out of an advanced skill that it would do something a little bit more impressive. In comparison, here a knights get Mars Will, which is incredibly OP. Quite expensive. It's 80 rage, but it's such a good skill. And a fantastic addition to um that class. It really makes makes knights really useful. Whereas I think this for mages is just whatever. I think they would have been better off adding in some sort of group deal. And I'm not sure it has to be a group shield since that's on the night stick, but something there. That would be group support. Just because I think the fact that the other one, Anthem, um, doesn't is a single target heal. So I think it would have been nice to have kind of a mix of one group support and one single target support. On Anthem, it looks great. It's kind of interesting because it doesn't have a cap on its on the amount of rage you need. So you can use it at any amount. So if I have the only thing is you can't really control the rage. No matter what, you have to use all of the rage that you have at the time. So if you have 12 rage and 12% of your HP is 90,000, that's fantastic. That's a good use of your rage at the time. But most people don't get into those situations, so you're going to be sacrificing, I would say, at least 30 to 40 30 to 40 rage when you use this skill. Um, uh, I think this is something that is awesome if it were a basic skill, actually, and it weren't an advanced skill, because um, uh, at lower HP and for lower BR players, I think this is more relevant because the max is 90,000 HP. But to put it in perspective, we'll do a little test, but I can pretty much guarantee that I'm going to heal more than 90,000 HP if I uh, use a restoration, and the same goes for Blessed Light, definitely more than that, especially if I crit. It might be close to 90k if I don't crit, but with um with a crit heal, these will definitely be, I mean, close to 200k. Because these ones are based on my attack stat, not based on my own HP. The other thing that we'll show is an advanced healing rune. I just have this at level 1 advanced healing, so it's 32%, and I rune for more than 90k. So I do think this does have the potential to crit. So maybe it can do 180k. I'm not totally sure. It might just cap out at 90k regardless. I haven't tested it enough to know, but yeah. So that's pretty underwhelming too. I was kind of excited about both of these, and they turned out to not be so fantastic. The other one, which is I don't have it on either of my skill sets, is this Rage Master passive, which is so fantastic. Even if I have points to spare, I don't think I'm going to put a single one into this passive just because I find it so fantastically bad. I just almost don't want to even like humor it with a point. Um, Basically what it is that you get bonus rage. I think it goes up to um, not 5, but some amount of rage um, per time that you're healed by a skill. So healed by another person or yourself, you gain more rage when you get healed. That doesn't include Centauria. So each time a Centauria ticks, that doesn't trigger this passive, and your runes don't trigger this passive. So heal rune won't trigger it, and so you're already limiting the number of ways that you can make the passive work, and I just think it's so irrelevant. Yes, I think the point is that when mages heal, it's quite expensive. Heals are the most probably one of the biggest and most expensive skills in the game for any class. But I don't understand then if you're gonna make a rage passive to kind of make up for heals, why not just give more rage every single time that we use a healing skill? Um, so that's kind of just like where I'm at with that. So I think best thing to do is just test them out, do a little comparison with the major heals from the basic skills. I'll show the shield and then do some of these damage skills. Another note on the shields, which I also find it kind of underwhelming, is yeah, it's 16%. My Guardian rune is already at 58%, and I'm working on maxing it out. Maxed out, it'll be a 70% um, Guardian or Shield. So really, it's pretty underwhelming. So let's go into Skytrail. I figure this is probably the best way to go about it. Maybe, I don't want to use him. He's a light boss. Electro, Wind. I guess the dark one would probably be best because it'll probably hurt the least when I have Aegis on. Maybe should have taken my troops off. Okay, well maybe I'll take damage first. Well, my troops will be cleared pretty quickly. Oh, I have full rage here. I did not know that. Alright, so first is, maybe I'll use this mana shield, so here's a 16% shield, as advertised, and I'll use Anthem. There's no QTE on Anthem, so there's the 16k. So I'll just Rage Rune. I don't know why I said 16k. I was thinking of the 16%. Okay, so there's 4k heal using Restoration, and I don't think that was a crit heal. I can try again in a second, but so Anthem, I used more rage than I needed to, but it was 90k the cap. So now I'll do a Blessed Light. See what I get. That was a crit heal and 211k. Now I'm going to do a heal rune. So this is 32%. 32%, and I get 118k. So really, Anthem, it can cost very little to quite a bit. Here's 115 on my restore again. So yeah, it can cost very little or a lot, but I don't think it's worth having to try and think about adjusting your rage or using Anthem when you have very little on you. The only context where I think Anthem is great is if you think you're not going to have a lot of rage for for a single heal. So maybe you think, oh, I'm not going to make it to a BL, or I'm not going to make it um, to a restore, and so you can use Anthem with any amount of rage, even if it's, even if you don't have enough for the 35 on restoration. Um, Even so, I don't think it's worth it. I think that's too. Um, you just have to think it through a little bit too much. So yeah, so that's not so great. I don't think we need to test that one too much. I think it's pretty self-evident. Um, so Anthem is going to do more for a while at a certain BR, but as your BR rises, Anthem becomes more and more irrelevant. So I would say for people who make it to class advancement and they're within, maybe the 150k BR range ish, it might be worth trying out and seeing if it's a better option than restore. Um, I think Busted Light is probably still, the best heal for a lot of reasons, especially for group situations, obviously. Um, so you can try it out at that point, but as you get stronger, this really doesn't adapt well. So really like for players that are start getting into that 200k or so range, this is going to become more and more irrelevant. Um, so so yeah, that's my bit on that. And so let's see here. We have Ice Bolt, we have Flame Tornado, and Thunder and Delphic Hall Thunder. So let's give those a look. The damage ones are always a little bit harder to keep track of, so hopefully I can get a good eye on the numbers and whether or not they crit. Actually, my lag for once is kind of helping. It's kind of helping me see everything, which is mildly humorous. So here's Ice Bolt, 30 rage, crit for 155k. That's a decent reference point. So let's try this tornado deal. So this is going to do the 400% because it's a single target, so it doesn't spread. So 110, 97k, so was that 200k? And I think there was one that didn't crit, and I didn't get a good read on it. So I'm thinking maybe 250k-ish. Wow, why am I lagging so damn bad? Let's try another Ice Bolt. It only strikes once, so it's not one of those multi-attack type deals. A 144k crit. Let's see here. See if I can get one more in. I also want to take myself off to make the numbers easier to read. Okay, 151k. So yeah, so definitely in that 140, 140 to 150, maybe 160 might be the top end of that range. So in comparison, so this is actually, let me think. I think I missed a couple of either one or two strikes from the Flame Tornado. So we can try and do that skill again. Oh. Don't need one rage. So 100% plus the 15% from the QTE. 115, 105, 109. Okay, so it strikes 3 times, and so in total it was bit over 300k, so maybe 320-ish. So we can do a thunder, which is half the rage, and with 267. So yeah, that's just nice. Thunder is just really a great skill. So we're looking. That flame tornado did 3 crits out of all 3 strikes. So that's the cap on what it was going to be. And against this opponent, it was 300 something k damage. Let me see here. So that's definitely going to be more against a single target than Delphic Hell Thunder, but just for the sake of demonstration, this is also 100 rage. So I need to use bolts and probably a rage rune. Let's see here. It's always a bit of a pain to count these. 132, 133, and I missed the other one. Darn it. Or maybe that might have been it. My sylph might have attacked and I missed it. But, well, I can review over this. This will at least be semi-educational for me later on. But, yeah, so basically, against a single target, this Flame Tornado is, going to be sort of impressive, at least as far as mages go, for what we're used to, but I don't think it's worth a rage. Speed-wise, it didn't look, one way or the other. It's definitely quicker than the other Delphics, I think. It'd be easier to demonstrate if I weren't lagging. Probably because I'm not lined in right now. But yeah, so those are the damage skills. Really, the only one I like out of the new ones is Ice Bolt as far as the active skills go. So by active skills, I just mean the ones that you actually click in combat. Amongst the passives, I only like the HP one. I really think this Rage Master one is super irrelevant. Would not waste your time with it. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents about it. I would say at least the heals they were trying. The attacks is Delphic. I think mages, could have sort of deserved a decent Delphic. But I think we're just gonna have to settle for using Thunder for the rest of our days until they think up something else, or just adjust things. So yeah, I hope you guys have fun. I would test them out yourselves. If you find a good context for some of these skills, it's just one of those things where, of the things that I've tried and the things that I do, I don't see a real purpose for most of these. So if you are a mage or not a mage and just thinking stuff up and think you have a good use for some of these advanced skills, please do tell me. I will try them out, or I will at least give them the time of day, and see where we go from there. I'll give an update if I think there's a really good purpose for one of them. But otherwise, you have points to work with. Uh, you can put the new skill points, the additional skill points that you get into your basic skills. So I think it's worth maxing out your thunder in each one of both your heal set and your DPS set. I think it's worth having a full thunder. And then you can start thinking about, putting like a full meteor or Centauria or whatever you don't have in your DPS set. Start thinking about what will be most useful to you here, and then on your heal set, definitely I would just make sure that you have that thunder, and then everything else is a little bit irrelevant. I guess I've started doing damnation, but I think that was mostly because I was like, screw you, Rage Master, I don't want you, so I'm gonna go put points in damnation, which is equally useless on my heal spec. Anyway, but so yeah, that's that. I hope you guys, I hope this at least helped, or at least is just an extended rant of what I was talking about in one of my other videos where I mentioned some of this stuff. So yeah, those are the advanced skills. I hope the knights and archers enjoy them a little bit more. I think from what I've seen, the archers are pretty underwhelming as well. They have a nice crit passive, or I think it's like a crit rate passive, which of course is always nice. They get nice stuff that involves crits. Everybody gets this HP one, which I think is worth, maxing out immediately. And I think the ones that really make out well with the advanced skills are the knights. Um, I think Mars will enough is good enough to settle any score there. So yeah, have a very good day, you guys. Take care.